Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Steph.
And I'm Elle.
And I'm Mel.
And I'm Jay.
And we're gathered here today to talk shit, which is like our MO. And we started, if you're just listening, then you can't tell, but I brought back my background with young Ted Raimi in Intruder. And I discovered, because I'm rewatching Supernatural, that he's in an episode of Supernatural. And it's right when things start to get really good. And he throws a coin into a wishing well, but it's old. And old shit is probably cursed, as it was. And Sam and Dean had to put all the fucked up wishes back together again. So obviously it brought up House of Wax. And that's what we're doing. We're reminiscing because it had all the quote unquote quintessential hot guys of the time. And it was just me and Jay on this episode, but it's true. They were the hot guys.
While we're on that subject, I think you could probably loop the Leprechaun series in there and work Davis lost his coin.
Oh, also, you can loop in Paris Hilton because she's in this season of Supernatural too. She plays a monster. It's like one of the old gods who needs worshippers, like needs to feed on worshippers to survive. But nobody worships old forest gods anymore. So this monster turns into people's bills like tourists. And so it was so funny. These girls were like, she was so mean. She took our friend, and they're like, who? Paris Hilton.
The GITM Supernatural fandoms colliding.
There's not much better than that, honestly, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, maybe you guys won't agree on the quintessential hot guys, but Elle's a Sam girl.
I'm not proud of that, but I mean, if the choice is Sam or Dean, I'm Team Sam.
Elle's
I already explained to her why that's wrong.
Elle's probably also taller than Dean, let's be real.
Probably,
but Jared Padalecki is like an ancient oak tree.
Not in that he's majestic, just in that he's thick.
So I'm on season 5 of the rewatch of Supernatural, and I already warned Elle I was going to be texting her regular commentary because it's been a while since I rewatched, right? And I literally was like, I want to know. I texted her one day, I want to know the time span between this season and this season because Jared's beefy. He came back beefy in this season.
I also think you can tell where you are in Supernatural by where Jared's hairline is.
Yes. I'm not going to aggressively agree because I'm trying to contain my enthusiasm. But yes. Hi, Sadie.
That's what I was going to say. Did he come back thick, or did he just come back obviously 30 years old instead of playing a 17-year-old kind of thing? So, yeah,
that's what it is. He looked like an actual grown man. That's what it is. Thank you, Mel.
What we call the Riverdale effect.
Ooh, that brings me to our Scream episode. None of you were on it, okay? It was just me and my sister. But the thing that she brought up, and I guess that's a really good segue into things we dislike in horror. I'm speaking for Samantha here. She said, was it because all of those teenagers were obviously 37 years old playing teenagers?
Matthew Willard could still get it, though.
In the room.
It's not about whether they could get it or not, because Nev Campbell, hello.
That's fair.
The deep in my house, I mean.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, but isn't that kind of like the thing where it's like anytime it's high schoolers, it's very clearly not high schoolers. But that's all because they can't have high schoolers on set all day or half naked on camera. So it's kind of like
that's a thing they do to like max out the appeal among like viewership because everyone's been to high school. Not everyone's been to college. When you start, drinking, you start experimenting with drugs or with your sexuality. So they age them down, but they keep the actors the same age so they can still, do sex scenes. Case in
Right.
point, Vampire Diaries.
No,
Just no.
Just no.
absolutely not. No.
Caroline Forbes.
Oh, but she's so pretty. I
Mhm.
don't care how old she is. She's so pretty. And she was in an episode of Supernatural. She played teenage Dean's love interest. And I was like, this bitch doesn't fucking age.
We bringing it back.
You're welcome. It is my primary job to bring it back to Supernatural.
Like
She takes that
Seven
job very
Shades-
seriously too. So
It's like
It's true,
Seven
I have a
Shades of Kevin
PhD.
Bacon, but it's for Supernatural and Stef.
Literally, my entire TikTok reposting right now is Jensen Ackles. So I'm like, oh, I think he's doing a country album. Oh,
yeah,
Country album. He could hardly talk, let alone
no, he's
Yeah, there's clips on TikTok. I'm kind of surprised.
he's a
you don't,
he's got a
find
voice.
out, Jensen. Let me find out.
you don't
Google it.
gotta talk well to, sing country music.
That's a good point.
listen. I'm actually
don't-
gonna put you in the corner early. We're not gonna talk shit about country music. That's
No,
not
I ain't talking shit about
Wow.
Carrie Underwood, Dolly Parton, none of them. I'm talking like Kenny Rogers.
He's talking like tractors and cows and horses.
I love that shit. Okay, don't let my brownness fool
Manifesto
you.
of my
No,
life.
it's cool. It's cool.
Okay.
I have a Johnny Cash album over there. I will show you.
Yeah, but I'm talking about frickin' Morgan Wallen out here playing in the bar. That's my shit. Sing
Got
about whiskey all day.
Maybe not that guy, but some.
it. Maybe not Morgan specifically, but
It's the Blues Brothers being booked at a country music place, and the only song they know that's country is the theme tune to Rawhide.
Are there words to that song? Besides
Rawhide. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Rawhide. Rawhide. Yeah.
Period. Oh wait, before we move on, I wanted to add something about the teenager thing because we also talked about this in the stream episode, but I think it's really important. Someone who does the teenager thing realistically, but I still fucking hate it in the Chucky series. They're actual 14-year-olds. They actually look like children. They actually are in fucked up situations. So I'm like, we don't have to include that. Have them be kids because scary shit happens to kids, but they don't have to be doing drugs and hooking up. And not everything has to have a euphoria filter on it. You know what I mean?
What?
My thing is have them be adults if they're adults, playing a character.
That's what we said.
I want to blame capitalism, of course, because, it markets scary movies to high schoolers, messing around on the weekends and on the summers, instead of us seasoned horror fans who are grown as hell out here. So, I mean, they could be adult scenarios too, God forbid. I mean, sorry, but for me, the stakes are only ever going to be so high in a high school scenario. It's like, okay, you're getting chased by a killer, but it's just math homework. Like, I don't know.
One of the most famous examples of kids being put in adult situations in films and them being kid actors is super bad. And it's McLovin was 17 during his sex scene and his mother had to be in the room for it. His real life mother.
What?
So she's standing off to the side just out of shot and he's going, it's in.
Oh, that's the most
Yep.
horrific thing I've ever heard. Perfect
Yeah,
for this
pretty
podcast.
cringe.
What age is Glenn Glenda in the Chucky series?
Oh, like teenager.
They're
Right.
teenagers, but they're not
Yes.
living with Jennifer Tilly, are they?
I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Okay.
I have so much anxiety about watching it for whatever reason, but it will get watched. I did see a clip of it though. Can't be with her all the time because she does mad fucking crimes, and at least one of them is not a criminal. The other twin is a criminal. What do you hate in horror?
Well, like seriously, or like
Yeah, either. It doesn't have to be goofy. It can be whatever irks your soul, because that was just my sister's.
I mean, the thing that annoys me is pretty much when you're using really like annoying emotional manipulation, which to me is killing a kid or a dog in a very heinous way without like, or like any other pet, like a bird or a cat or whatever, and you don't have a good storytelling reason. Like there were better choices that you could have done to make that monster scary, and instead you're like, let's just do something that we know is going to make middle-aged women cry, and I don't like it.
Team
It's
Cuj-
cheap.
Yeah,
I wanna
I
I
think
wanna
Team Kuja,
Team Kuja, yeah.
right? Because that movie was scary as hell without them killing the dog.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna ask you this though, and this is about a film that you and I watched very recently.
Uh-oh.
Do you
Shit.
remember the chest compression scene in Red Snow 2?
Yes.
So in Red Snow 2, guy gets his arm chopped off, but it's replaced with like a Nazi zombie arm because it was found in the car with him. And that arm is very powerful. It has powers. He accidentally throws an American kid out of a hospital window. The American kid like hits the ground, isn't breathing or whatever. This guy
Mhm.
jumps out and like is trying to resuscitate him with that hand. And he presses down on the chest and literally goes straight through the rib cage. Blood explodes all over his face.
That is
Amazing.
justified in my opinion, because there's a good storytelling reason for that. There's a big arm on him. It's
Yeah.
showing he's doing a good thing as a character. He's like, I want to save this kid, but he doesn't know the strength of himself. So it wouldn't make any sense for it to have fallen any other way. But like in Heidi, when they just like off the
Yeah.
dog, when there were plenty of other things they could have done, it was just annoying because it's like this. It's not scary to me that you can hurt something that is pretty much vulnerable. What's scary
Mhm.
to me is creepy stuff, doing stuff that you don't expect. I think that that's the thing. I like to be more like psychologically attacked, I guess.
Yeah, same. And
And
in Heidi,
emotionally.
I really want to actually rewatch Heidi. I would love for them to just take the myrtling of Kuja out of the movie altogether.
Yeah,
This is a dull movie. Y'all know that's my shit. Okay. Well, I think we watched this in the first 31 days of horror.
we did.
The
Yes.
ending of this movie is so unexpectedly jarring. Like, so unexpectedly scary. I think it's one of like the best, just one of the best endings, probably of any movie that we've covered, because I just wasn't ready for it. So if you guys want to freak yourselves out, watch Heidi.
We should bring it back. We haven't done a full episode with it.
Bring it back. I would love to. Thank
Mm.
you for asking. Anyone else? Anyone else have anything that they actively dislike or that is overused?
If no one
Horror
else is going
element.
to say it, I am.
Say
It hasn't been used in a while, in so much as I can't remember the last time I seen it. Except, no, not even House of Wax, because Jared Padalecki dies first in House of Wax. When they kill the black character first, for no reason
That's at the top of the list.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
other
good-
than, and I think this is probably where like hiring middle class white writers to write your script is they don't know how to write that character, and so they kill them off as quick as possible because they don't have a like connection to them or something. I don't know.
It's
I
like
might be-
worse than that almost. They inherently write those characters as weak or stupid or fumbling,
Mhm.
Mhm.
So they
As a
get cut
token.
because they write them as weaker characters. So like,
And even when it's going from actual like novels to film adoptions, they reduce the black character down. Like Steph, it
Oh no! Oh no! Here
Don't
we
even get
go.
me started on what they've done to Mike Hanlon, because I can and will talk about it forever.
It's
You
Mike
will.
Hanlon, but it was also Dick Halloran as well.
True.
Yes, it was.
True.
Yes, it was. Okay. These are so, what I love about that is that, you know, some people have brought up, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but whatever, 100th episode. Some people have brought up the racist language that Stephen King used in like all of his books, but he grew up in a time where like it was a thing, and he's writing these characters, but it's not just like, oh, I need to sprinkle in some racist characters because that's what I know. They're so nuanced. Like, he builds this entire world, and I like that he doesn't ignore that, but he also gives Black characters like, I mean, hello, Mike Hanlon was the best character in the Losers Club. Like, he did that.
100%.
Stephen King made that. And no one, if they didn't read the book or listen to me talk, would know what a wonderful character Mike Hanlon is. Like, he is, I'm gonna say it, he's probably my favorite hero besides like horror hero. And he's not written that way in any of the movies. You would never think about him that way in the movies. And I think it's really yucky. Besides him, I'm going to say it, the brother and sister in The Black Phone, hands down, my absolute favorite. Favorite.
Yeah, the point that you were making there about people complaining about Stephen King using that language, I think
Oh, yeah.
what King does, because he's writing about that period, he doesn't do it out of spite, and he doesn't do it because it's you know, that's the way they talked. He's doing it because that's a part of American history that if you whitewash or you pretend didn't happen is just as bad. Like, omitting that language is just as bad as saying that it didn't happen.
Yes, especially because when you look at the town of Derry that he's created as a whole, that's inherently what the white citizens of Derry try to do. They try to erase all the unclean parts of it, and that includes gay people because of what they did to Adrian Mellon. God damn, like, do we have to do a Stephen King podcast? God
It also
damn it.
I
come-
think
No.
the deepest racisms are maybe not even in the language. Some of it's in the stereotypical characterization. Like, it aside, there were other ones. Like, I think, you know, when I think about The Stand, you know, the supernatural Negro, that kind of is a stereotypical role. Or when I think about Desperation, the supernatural indigenous person. And it's like, which roles do Black and indigenous people get to play in his stories? And it's typically something like that. You know, if they're a good character, it's a supernatural, you know, unknown, undefined, really vague character, you know. And if they're a really known, personal, individual character, then they're literally like helping hands. They're like, just here to be of service, you know. And it's kind of, I think that's where the real racisms are, to be honest.
That's a valid point, but when people are speaking about the racism, and that's never the point that they're bringing up ever. So I think that that's a really good one.
That's a good point. Yeah, especially when you look at The Shining as well, because again, supporting character, you know, great character, but
one of the core characters in the book, like, he gets multiple chapters about him. We find out about Dick Halloran, and he survives in the book. He is the savior of the day. He
In the
saves,
book, in the movie
saves Danny and Wendy.
Yeah.
But again, the idea that, Steph, you were talking there about Derry being a city or a foundation of like excluding the other. It also, come to think of it, could be considered also like erasure of other races beyond like wasps.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like the great mystical creature that isn't Pennywise, it's the world turtle, which is connected back to Native American myth.
Yeah, they both came from the same place. And then you look at the Dark Tower series, and there's just all of these other. There's this creator on TikTok, who I talk about the L all the time, and he does these deep dives into Stephen King's lore. And he has just recently like created this mashup saying that Mary Poppins and Pennywise, there's this theory that they're from the same place, and it just blew my bang straight out of my fucking face. It's not necessarily that it's real, but the things that you can put together just because he's made his universe. So I always feel like, respectfully, I know that he used to be on drugs, but I feel like maybe he's been able to tap into parts of the human brain that other people haven't been able to.
I won't
Don't
bore
do
you.
drugs, kids.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about Stephen King and the cosmic horror, as you both know, so I will say very little about it, but I will say that he uses cosmic horror in a very interesting way to look at American society as a whole, like whether it's the influence that is covered up, like with Native Americans and the world turtle, or whether it's sort of the waspish Christianity communities, small Christianity communities, like the warping of Christianity in Children of the Corn, or Pennywise preying
He who
on
walks among the rose.
yeah, Rose, ROSE. Or Pennywise preying on like societal fears that we create ourselves. So the idea that King sees cosmic horror in American society rather than out in the universe is quite interesting to me.
I see a lot of horror in American society.
I will say, though, it's a little bit convenient if you have a genius mind for horror and fiction, then why always conveniently base your stories in places that are predominantly white or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can't you imagine a place where this stuff, doesn't exist? Like, if we can't do it, then who's going to do it? If not these writers with genius ability to imagine something else, like, I mean, I could just go to Derry. I don't know. And there
Fuck
might
Derry,
not
don't go.
be clowns in the sewer, but
Don't
maybe
do
there
that.
will definitely be other things.
You want to come to Derry, Northern Ireland? Sure, I'll bring you down the
No.
bog side. We'll go for a
Sounds
drink.
similar to Derry, here.
Oh no, it's hell.
Yes.
Like,
So I totally agree with you. I'm not sure why his comfort lies in New England. I know that I was born there, and so was H.P. Lovecraft, but H.P. Lovecraft, he's
Yes.
imagined a whole lot of, different things. And I'm still a Stephen King fan, obviously, and I think the specifics of it like have really, really got me in a chokehold. But where I sort of fell off was The Outsider. And I will never be a fan of that. Like, I am a Stephen King fan, but I am so not a fan of that because I thought it was so out of pocket the way they set this up, and then for the monster to be El Cuco. Like, that felt so unbelievably lazy to me. It's not giving El Cuco. It is a cultural monster, but he put the mask of El Cuco on a monster that it is a nursery rhyme that you tell to scare your kids, but the violence that took place against the child, it felt like a cheap thing to do, and I just really didn't like it. I really didn't like it.
I think
People can
Gerald's
disagree.
theme is very similar in that way as well. Like, not necessarily the film, but because I haven't seen it, but the book.
I saw it.
Someone else read it and told me about it, and there's like huge swathes of chapters about this child being sexually assaulted and how that affects them, and not in a negative way, in a this turns them on kind of way. And I'm like, Stephen.
I have a similar problem with the Mayfair witches with
Yeah.
Anne Rice,
Yeah.
the way that she writes Mona Mayfair.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about authors and why they do that, but it's disturbing. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
I mean,
But
she
on top of
Claudia
that,
first, if you think about it. Claudia was the first Mona Mayfair. She was the
True.
blueprint for Mona Mayfair,
Mhm.
Claudia in the vampire series, and then
But
I'm
at
dying.
least Claudia was aging. She's not physically
Right.
aging, but she's
yeah.
but this idea
It
of like
almost-
Mona being just like more mature than her age, and so she can seduce her cousin or uncle or whatever the fuck he is. No, go fuck yourself. I'm not entertaining this. This is
And
not.
honestly, those books were
Yeah.
even much more rapey than that. And I don't know how
Oh
else
yeah.
to describe it
Yeah.
besides just saying it was really rapey. Especially when it gets to Lasher. I mean, just rape core.
I haven't gotten there yet. I have not gotten there.
I'm
yet.
making
We're
Steph
talking-
read the Mayfair Witches with me because I have
Fair warning, girl.
I made
Not because
some.
we're creeps.
Now it's
I
good
just
stuff.
made a
It's
lot of
mind-blowing
references to
stuff
Lasher.
at some points, but yeah, it's a little cringe.
We have
Super
issues here, but we've talked about this before because as much as we admire Anne Rice and her work, she does have creepy moments. I obviously haven't read the Mayfair Witches yet, but I was introduced to Mona Mayfair in in Blackwood Farm, which I love. I love Quinn Blackwood, but I was a teenager when I read these books, and Quinn Blackwood is a teenager, and she puts him into some weird situations, and then she puts him and Mona together, and they're teenagers. So like it was a whole weird situation. Then you think about Marius's Island of Little Boys, who paint for him and
Which
other
is
things.
why I am taking so long. I'm on my second year of reading The Vampire Armand because I got so fucking mad at that book and at who Marius is after him being built up in the first like 3 books or 4 or 5 books is like amazing, very
Yeah.
awesome vampire, and then you find out he's just a fucking piece of shit. He's a garbage person. Like
Yeah.
He's literally a fancy pedophile. Honestly.
I mean,
Marius.
a predator on every level. A predator.
Yes.
A literal
Yes.
predator,
Yes.
Emotional
And
predator.
I,
Physical predator.
I honestly feel like all the vampires have potential to be so. So I don't know. Like that's just another element of horrifying that you add on top of to what it is. But like we can switch gears here. So why don't we talk about favorite heroes or protagonists and antagonists in anything that we've covered or anything that we have seen in 2022. Period. Go.
Favorite final girl, Steph,
Oh,
I think
shit.
you might agree with me on this, is the female
It's Malfoy.
protagonist in Evil Dead's remake.
I knew it. I said Jane Levy.
Yes, it's Jane Levy.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I mean, I can't say it's my favorite because I already stated my favorite, but it's so good on so many levels that we talked about it for 3 fucking hours.
And there might be a sequel with not a sequel, a new
There's
reboot
a
or like
new
a
Evil
carrying on
Dead.
of the series with like Bruce
Something
Campbell
about
coming out
Mom.
this year.
Wait a minute. Bruce, I didn't see him in the trailer, but the trailer looks good.
He tweeted
I
out,
will
he
watch.
said, I gotta do it to him.
Anyone else?
Mhm.
Oh man, gotta throw him out there. Grandpa Highcock. Bro, Grandpa Highcock.
I just
Every
rolled my
time.
eyes so hard they almost fell out of my face. Hold on.
What I'm
Really?
looking forward to though for serious is Cage and Renfield. That is what I'm looking
Yes.
forward to.
And Keanu Reeves and Constantine 2, whatever that
Ooh,
comes
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Renfield's being played by that actor from the UK Skins. He was also Beast in
That's
X-Men
his
First Class.
assistant.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that,
the
is that
Skins one.
is not he not Renfield?
It's not Renfield. Isn't Renfield the vampire?
No.
Because that's Nick.
No,
No.
Cage is the
No, he's the
vampire.
other-
Renfield's like the manservant
Yeah.
for Dracula.
Remember,
for
okay,
Dracula.
yeah.
I didn't know it was actual Dracula. Sorry, guys. I'm
Yeah, this is
stupid.
Renfield's Dracula's dog's body.
Assistant.
Mhm.
Not the
The
dog's
hunchback, yes.
body.
Oh, it's not exactly horror. but have you guys seen Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks film? It's like a comedy with Gene Wilder.
No.
Yeah.
There's the hunchback in it, and like his hunch keeps like changing sides. He's this English actor, and his eyes point in two different directions. And he gets sent to bring back a brain to Frankenstein, and he says, "You brought me a brain. It wasn't the brain I asked for, was it?" And he goes, "No." He says, "Do you remember what it said in the label? Abby normal. Abby normal." And he starts joking about it. He says, "You give me an abnormal brain, you bitch." That character.
Yeah, it's giving that. But I like that Renfield has to go to therapy because Dracula is such a fucking dramatic man. It makes sense. It checks out with Nick Cage.
It feels like a very Stephen Moffat line. You know, the guy that wrote Sherlock and like the Matt Smith series of Doctor Who. It feels very much like, oh, you're being clever, but you're not being clever. This is bullshit storytelling.
I think it's gonna be funny. Mel, did you answer? Have you been thinking this whole time?
Is the question like, what's my favorite, like, who's my favorite character? Because, you know, this year I gotta say I don't have one. But I'll say what my favorite trope is this year, which is kind of popping up more and more. It's like final girl survives and burns something down and empowers some type of, like, I don't know, weird othering. Like, you know, so the girl gets out, she's all bruised up, but the building's burning behind her, and then someone is sinister, like plotting off screen. Like, I kind of like that. That's popping up more. And it's like, you know, she got out, but as it is for every woman, there's more shit ahead. So I don't hate it.
I was gonna say it's the good for her trope of like Midsummer. It's like they've gone through trauma, but you're like, good for her.
Good for her. Good for us all. You know, like, yeah. So I would say that's probably my favorite this year. Yeah.
Can I, before we move along, I just want to throw out another thing that I absolutely didn't fucking like. Just because you said Midsummer, it reminded me of my babe Florence. Something I don't like that people keep doing is putting Harry Styles in movies. Stop. Stop it. I don't like it. And I already wasn't a Harry Styles girl, not because he's terrible, but I don't care about him at all. And some of his songs are good. I love Watermelon Sugar. Okay. But there's something about him that gives me the ick. And when I watched Don't Worry, Darling, it made it worse. It did. I actively disliked
his pretense. He can't get
no.
It's just a wall.
No. If they wanted to keep him like not icky, they should have given him a different part. Yeah. That's all.
Maybe his use is just ick.
There are girls on the internet like ruining other women's life just because they know Harry Styles. Like his fan base is psychotic.
What?
Like no thanks. Yes. If there's a paparazzi picture of Harry Styles in a 15-foot radius of another woman, they're gonna find out who that woman is. They're gonna find her family. They're gonna find out what she does for a living, and they're gonna try to end her.
Wow,
that's scary.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good to know. I didn't really know who he was, so
probably for the best.
Oh, they're coming for you.
Good.
You calling
you
Adrian
don't know
Brody
him?
a frog fucker? That means nothing. You are dead. The Harry Styles stands are coming for you.
They tried to come after Brittany Broski, who's famous because he wasn't.
I love Brittany Broski.
In her top artist, he wasn't in her top artist on Spotify Rap, and she was at his concert, and they basically dogged her for it. Hello,
fuck you! I'll fight for Brittany Broski. I don't care.
All right, everyone. Do you want to play a game?
Sure.
You want to play a game?
I'm sorry, I have a terrible Jigsaw voice. Okay. The game is this. Are you ready? The three of you have suddenly found yourself in a horror movie, okay? Written and produced by this BuzzFeed quiz that I found on the internet, directed by Stef Nunez. Dun, dun, dun! Get your characters ready. Stats!
Steph, is this a D&D campaign?
Absolutely. I am your dungeon master. I've never played, but I know the rules of this game at least.
Okay.
All right, you can use your real names or you can have fake names. What's it gonna be?
My name's Grandpa Highcock.
Period.
My name's BK, spelled B-E-E-K-A-Y.
You're dying first.
It's hard for me to think of something more lethal than Mel. So like
That's true. It's literally my favorite thing to hear in the intro when Elle says, "I'm Elle," and you say, "And I'm Mel."
yeah. Right. Right.
Okay, great.
Mental
All right.
Mel in the movies.
All right. Characters, get ready. Okay. Okay. You find yourself in a horror movie. You're walking through the woods at night and everything is pitch black. Okay.
That's dumb. Why
Except
would
for
I do
the
that?
flashlight on your phone, because horror characters are inherently dumb unless they aren't, and then they live. Okay, so everything's pitch black except for the flashlight on your phone. Before you, there's a path that leads you deeper into the woods where your friend's cabin awaits. You've been there before, but never at nighttime. Okay? This is a choose your own adventure and you have to work as a team. Do you keep walking or do you call your friend?
Keep walking. And here's my reasoning. We call the friend, we're gonna lose the flashlight.
Only one of them. There's three, right? We each have one. I don't show up at people's houses unannounced. I'm a millennial, okay? I will send them a text and then see if it's okay to call, and then I will call and see if it's okay to come over. Come on.
Mel?
I think I'm doing the call. Just because I mean, it's a good way to locate people in scary movies too. If you haven't noticed, you call people, the phone rings in the closet, or it rings around the corner, and you're like, "Holy shit, my friend's not at home. They're out here in these woods." So I'm definitely making the phone call.
My friend's a Sasquatch.
Right.
Here's the other thing though. It's a horror movie. We're in the woods. There's not going to be any signal.
Damn it. True.
So what's the verdict?
If you don't have signal, that answers it.
That's true.
No one
We can
said
at
there
least
was
make-
no signal.
We can make the attempt, Jay.
Okay, the attempt for sure.
All right. Try
Okay,
it. Try it.
2 against 1. We're calling the friend. Let's see what happened.
You're
Before
dead.
venturing off, BK. Before venturing off into the dark on your own, you decide to call your friend to see if they can meet you. But as you're dialing their number, you realize that you'll have to turn the flashlight on your phone off if you want to reach them. Do you turn the light off and call them, or do you text them instead?
Text. I'm a
Oh,
millennial. Text.
Okay.
Text.
Text
Yeah,
is an
text.
option right off the bat. We're texting.
Mm-hmm.
I like where your brains are at. I didn't go all the way through this quiz, so I have no idea how it ends, even though I directed it. Okay. You decide to shoot them a quick text, but after sending, "Hey, I'm here," this is in all capitals, by the way, "Could you meet me
Yeah.
halfway? I'm kind of scared. LOL." The message fails to send. Great. Just great, you think. BK was right. That's when you hear the snap of a twig behind you.
The Sasquatch.
You turn around, pointing your flashlight at the line of trees, but there's nothing there. You're really freaking yourself out. You'd better get a move on. The faster you get to the cabin, the better. When you get to a fork in the path, you realize that you can't quite remember which way to go. Do you go right or do you go left? They both look the same in the picture.
What friend do we have that's rich enough to own a fucking cabin?
You tell me, it's your friend.
I don't think
Okay,
it matters.
but it
go.
could.
You might as well go right. I feel like the friend's not in the cabin.
Yeah, I feel like the friend is a Sasquatch. That's how they own a cabin.
You want to flip a coin?
I don't care.
No.
I'll go with whatever you guys want to do.
Mel said right.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
All right, right it is. You decide to go right. You're pretty sure this is the way. And look at that. You were correct. The cabin is just ahead. But Wait a second. The windows are dark. Where's your friend? You knock, but no one answers. The front door is unlocked, so you go inside and call out for your friend. There's no response. When you try to turn on the light, nothing happens. You take a look at your phone and see that it's on 6%. It's gonna die any second.
Smart.
Didn't the lights go out the last time you were here? If you remember correctly, your friend said there was a generator in the basement and a flashlight or some candles in the attic. Do you investigate the attic or the basement?
They suck at being out in the middle of nowhere, for Christ's sake.
Hey, there's something somewhere.
Walk back out. Like, I don't know. The friend's not there. Why
That's
try
not
to
an
say
option.
no?
This is Grandpa Highcock, the Burger King, and Mel go into the woods together.
You know, I have a gun because I'm Grandpa Highcock, so I think you just shoot any problem we have. So let's just go get some fucking lights in the attic.
But the plot twist is the gun is really tiny because you're really tiny and your friends have to carry you.
It's
That's
a pea
fine.
shooter.
It's fine.
I feel-
Okay.
It's still
I
it's a
feel-
space gun. It's okay.
I do
I
feel like if
feel
you're gonna
like-
choose one of the two, the attic is less of a risk for entrapment.
Well, see, here's what I'm thinking. If we are gonna have to run away from a monster, it's easier to run uphill, up a flight of stairs, than it is to run down.
What if it
Especially
blocks
it's
the
a ladder.
stairs? You
Especially
can
if
just
it's a
go out the
ladder.
window. Like
Ding,
I'm a little
ding,
man.
Ding, 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 ding. He is just a little
pick.
man.
You
It's a
pick.
second escape route.
I was only just, right about the fucking phone, but that's okay. No, I'm joking.
Mel, what's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio. Surprise.
Gemini, Scorpio. Okay, we're going to the attic. The attic sounds like a better idea. So you search the ceiling for the entrance. You find it in the kitchen where you pull the drawstring, revealing the mouth of the attic and the ladder that folds down to the floor. Above your head, there's only a rectangle of black. It's just the dark. You remind yourself, it can't hurt you. You begin your ascent into the attic where the only source of light is your quickly dying phone. You expect to see stacks upon stacks of dusty boxes, but to your surprise, there's only one lone treasure chest, like my name. Maybe there's something in there I can use, you think. Do you open the chest or do you return downstairs? Who's not gonna fucking open the chest?
Why are we even here? Oh,
What? I thought there were candles and a fucking flashlight here.
Be in the chest.
The
Who
chest.
knows?
The chest might be a fucking mimic too. We might get eaten by the chest.
it might be Pandora's box, but if you don't open it, then
Let's fucking open it. We might as well.
you gotta
Your
open
friend is hiding in the box, about to scare you. You're gonna fall down the stairs and break your fucking neck.
Let's
Um,
find out.
What a friend.
Fish hooks come out.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
attached to
My
your
friend
skin.
Sam Squanch.
Da-na-na-na.
I forgot to change my name back to Treasure Chest, but I just fixed it.
Oh, I need to change my name.
Okay. You open the chest and gasp. Inside is a porcelain doll worn ragged from years of neglect.
Oh, for
It's the original-
Christ's sake.
This thing had a child to love it. But despite all the grime and dust, you notice the doll's eyes look eerily human, and that there are little silver bells sewn into her raggedy ass dress. But that's not all you find in the chest. There's also a black candle, and next to that, a single match. You look at your phone battery, it now says 1%. You better hurry and make a decision. Do you light the candle, or do you close the chest and return downstairs? And are any of you virgins? Because this is a black candle.
I think I'm safe.
Last
good.
time I checked, unless it grows back.
Now, what if you just
What grows on
chest?
a dick? Like,
No, I mean just virginity. in
Virginities
general.
don't grow back, kids.
I'm just like, I'm trying to.
It's also a concept
Understand.
invented by the patriarchy. Do you light the candle?
Yes, we
Two more
come this
votes.
far.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
light
I'm
it.
a
Light it.
competent witch, and I've got a
Wait,
gun.
can we light the doll?
No, that is not an
Damn it.
option. It probably won't light anyway. If it's anything like the one in Heidi, that shit didn't burn.
True.
Yeah,
I was
that-
getting
Light the
Heidi
candle.
vibes because Heidi was in the attic too.
As soon as I saw this bitch, this dirty porcelain bitch, I thought of
Oh, so
Annabelle.
it's Annabelle.
Yeah.
Dirty porcelain bitch.
I gotta use my last 6% for my like death note on Twitter, so probably gotta like
1%. It's 1% now.
It's 1% now. All
This
right.
has a
let's-
worse thing than my fucking old ass Android.
Mhm.
Listen, it's my directorial debut. Give me some slack. I didn't write this or produce
Mel's-
it. I'm just the
Mel's
director.
last tweet is just, I'm out.
it's been real.
It's just that SpongeBob meme of him just standing up from the chair like, I'm about.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
The
Simple
lightningsville. There's no way you're gonna let yourself get stuck in the dark with no light source. Before you reach for the candle and match, you decide to flip the doll over onto its stomach so you can't see its eyes staring blankly at you. Good move. Satisfied, you ignite the match with your thumb and light the candle. As you light it, your phone dies and the flashlight cuts out. You breathe a sigh of relief, just in the nick of time, you think. Nick Cage, to be specific. You turn to exit the attic, but that's when you notice the writing on the wall. It looks as if someone took a knife and carved, "Don't light the candle, she'll wake up," into the wood. You hear the sound of jingle bells behind you and your heart drops into your stomach. Do you blow out the candle or do you turn to look at the doll?
Turn to look at the
I
doll.
close the chest.
I mean, if she's awake, maybe she can point out the generator. I don't know.
What's she gonna do? What's she gonna do? She's clay.
We're in a
She's
predicament.
China.
We gotta like put our heads together.
She comes running at me, I'm fucking booting her.
You might as well see what's up.
The problem is there's not enough choices here. You know, I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know. I'm not happy.
Hey, blame BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed.
So we're turning to look at the doll.
Yeah, you got to. If you don't look,
Alright.
May as well.
I don't know.
See how hot she is. Gotta check her
The
out.
sexiest. Well, you slowly turn towards the chest, not quickly. But from where you're standing, you can't see inside. You step closer and take a peek, only to have your worst fears confirmed. The doll is gone. From behind you, you hear the high-pitched sound of a child's giggle, the jingle of bells, and tiny footsteps made by little porcelain feet. You're about to turn towards the footsteps when you see more writing etched on the wall. "Don't look," it reads. Immediately, you crumble into a ball and back yourself into the corner of the attic, keeping your eyes shut tight. The little footsteps get closer and closer, and those bells on her dress just keep fucking jingling until you know that the doll is right in front of you. Do you open your eyes or do you keep your eyes shut?
Is this so? This is like the
Keep my eyes shut. What you
yeah.
gonna
This
do?
is like the fucking angels from Doctor Who.
The Weeping
Is it-
Angels.
Yeah,
the
If you
Weeping
don't see it,
Angels.
is it real?
How is keeping your eyes shut gonna help though? Defensively, not a good.
I
What's it
want
gonna
to
do?
know how
What's
we
it gonna
actually
do?
got into the attic because I thought we were kind of like standing on the ladder, reaching over into this.
How
like-
big is this cabin?
No, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's into the attic.
Oh,
Okay,
that's some
y'all
bullshit.
stepped in and you were holding hands, and now you're holding hands in the corner. Do you open your eyes? Or do you
The
keep
three
them
of us
shut?
have gone to three separate corners. and
No,
we
you're
choose
in the
our-
corner together. You're huddling together for safety and
Okay.
security. Like
Yeah,
little
there's three
babies.
of us. We can take that thing. Like,
Okay. Is that the vote?
I guess I
we-
don't care.
We opening our eyes or keeping them closed?
I want to see what's eating me.
Mel, you die
Okay.
in Doctor Who. You know that.
This isn't Doctor Who. This movie is called The Unexpected. Directed by Oh Jesus. You can't resist the urge to look, so you open your eyes. Standing before you, no bigger than a foot tall, kind of like Grandpa Highcock, is the doll from the chest. Only now there's something more evil and twisted about her face. Her teeth are fucking crooked. The last thing you see are those pale blue eyes gleaming with malice as the doll lunges at you with an inhuman scream, and the world grows dark around you. You're all fucking dead. The end.
Cool.
I mean, you would have
How are we
died
getting
if you
killed by a
opened your
China
eyes
doll?
or not.
How are we
though.
getting killed by a China doll?
We
don't make
didn't
the rules.
even. There's no battle. Like this is boring. I have a space gun, and we didn't take that into account. I'm the right height to romance this doll as well. And I
Yeah,
have
but
a
it's a baby
history.
doll.
I have a
It's a
history
baby
though.
doll.
This is
Uh,
your oopsie daisy.
Let's
I think that's
talk about baby
exactly.
Oopsie Daisy. Like I think him and Grandpa Highcut could have had a loving romantic relationship, and
Nah,
I-
nah.
I was hoping we would at least get to frantically search for the history of the house so we could discover some little girl who died there and then resolve her death and help her
I mean,
possess the doll.
to be
I should've-
fair, the answers could have been in the basement.
Mm, to be
Yeah,
fair,
well,
the bodies could have been in the basement.
To be fair,
See,
your friend is an
heathen.
asshole.
Where's
be
the
friend-
friend? Still in
to
the
be
woods. I
friend-
reckon.
to be fair,
Not-
the Sasquatch could have been in the basement.
Not only is our friend somehow rich enough to own their own property in the woods, but they also have decided to lure us there to kill us with a fucking China doll.
All right, I'm gonna give you how I think that
Bad
this
friend.
went because I had dinner with the producer, so I can tell you. I can tell you exactly what this is. Your friend's not rich. This is a shitty cabin, like the one in Evil Dead. He inherited it from his dead grandpa, who used to bring hookers there. And that's the spirit of a possessed, very angry hooker inside that doll. Angry hooker magic trumps little guns, even if they're from space. Amen.
The real horror at the end is your friend is charging you Airbnb cleaning fees.
You got it. All right, everybody. I thought that was a funny game, but that's because I was the dungeon master. Any final thoughts on this episode?
Good time.
I could have kept us alive.
Oh my god.
Hey, when it's a team effort, though, Jay, you gotta go with the majority rules. Otherwise, you're the dickhead who goes off alone and dies anyway.
Okay.
Safety
This
in
sounds like the
numbers.
opposite. This sounds like the opposite of what your mom would say, which is, if your friends went and got killed by an evil doll, would you?
My mom wouldn't say that. She has doll houses.
Many.
That's right.
Many
God.
doll houses. So this has been great. I think we can wrap it up there. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing 2 years on this podcast. I love being in season 3. Looking forward to many more games with you guys and more episodes. In the meantime, you can find this podcast on the interwebs at ghostinthemagazine.site or on Twitter at GITM Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at WitchXPudding.
You can find me at Nocturnical.
You can find me at Hedda_Mel.
You can follow me at Atlas_Snow.
Okay, bye.